What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to From the Bench. I'm your host, Will Meadows, and welcome to our Friday edition where we're talking strictly b-ball today. The Vol Hoops basketball team has a top 6 matchup against the Crimson Tide this weekend. Everybody knows it's been the talk of this week. In my opinion, it's definitely, I don't know, I'm amazed that we didn't host College Game Day, but College Game Day is heading to Gainesville for Florida versus Texas A&M, and A&M lost earlier this week. But that's besides the point. We know the weight that this matchup holds. It's a rivalry game. It's an orange out this weekend, and we're going to talk all about that game today. A little bit of the history of the matchup, what happened last year, and more importantly, we're going to have a special guest on today's episode. Top 100 recruit for the 2026 class, Trey Thompson, joins the show and talks a little bit about his recruitment and what he is getting recruited from the Vols like, and what recruitment is like from the Vols, and what does a win this weekend in a great atmosphere against a top 6 team and more importantly a rival, how does that impact his recruitment, and what does he like to see? So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and welcome him to the show, and then we're going to go ahead after that and talk more about my opinion and what I think about this matchup this weekend. So without further ado, let's welcome Trey Thompson. All right, and here we are with top 100 recruit Trey Thompson. He's 6'8", 210, and he's right here in the backyard at Greenville High School. Trey, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, Will. How are you?
I'm good, bro. I'm glad to have you on the show. Me and Trey are good buddies. We've played in the same AU program. As for you guys that have listened to the show on a daily basis, you guys know I've got a basketball background. Not anymore, as you guys know that I tore everything that was left in my knee. But it's fine. It's allowed me to make great friends here like Trey Thompson. And let's just get right into it. Trey, obviously, like we said, a top 100 recruit, a 4-star. What does recruitment look like for you? You're in the middle of a great junior campaign in your high school. For your high school team right now, you're coming off a very successful summer against some of the top competition in the country. What's your recruitment look like just from an offer standpoint, and what you're liking?
From an offer standpoint, I've heard from Butler, Xavier, Purdue, Virginia Tech, Tennessee, obviously, ETSU, Stetson, Indiana State, App State, Ohio, and I've been in contact with, Mississippi State, Providence, LSU, Clemson, and Louisville as well. Great programs. I haven't visited them all, but they're all great programs.
Well, I remember you going on a big recruiting just a tour there in fall break, but like we said, you're offered by Tennessee. You're offered big. Purdue's recruiting you hard. Like I think you were telling me Purdue's coming down this weekend, so that's another top 25 school, a team that was just in the national championship last year. Those
Absolutely.
guys are coming after you hard. You've got Mississippi State, LSU, some other SEC and ACC schools. Where does, as far as just being from here, where does Tennessee stick out to you the most?
When I go down there to visit, you can see the atmosphere. Like the family type atmosphere is something completely different. Like sitting in the stands and then being on the court is completely different feeling,
Yeah.
and the atmosphere is great there. Having coaches come to UT watched me at the Arby's Classic. They came up and watched me at the Arby's Classic, and having Coach Painter and the assistant Coach Luss coming Saturday to watch a regional game at Hal Hennard, which is where we play.
Yeah.
It's definitely unique. In Tennessee, being from Tennessee, an hour and 30 minutes away, it's a great school, great opportunity, and I'm very thankful for it.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different. Me, I go as a fan every time, and I'm watching as a fan, and I think it's awesome as a fan. I'm sure you're a fan, and now you're being pursued by the school. That's got to feel awesome and just totally different. That's an opportunity a lot of people don't get.
Absolutely, and being from Tennessee, putting on a UT jersey is definitely cool. It's
Yeah.
really cool, and being in the background, in the locker room, and hearing what they actually say, and being that close to the court it's completely different.
Yeah. So, really, we all know what's going on this weekend. As we talked about earlier on the show, and we're going to talk about later on the show, we've got a big rivalry game. It's third Saturday in October for football. I don't know if it has a name for basketball, but it's a top 6 matchup. Alabama is one of the most high-paced and electric offenses in the country. But aside from how good the teams are, the atmosphere is going to be incredible. Most definitely our most impactful and our biggest home game that we've had to this point, and what we'll have all year. It's going to be an orange out. So, what is the Vols coming out with a win this weekend? Like, how does that impact your recruitment, or just what do you like to see?
I'd love to see the guys. Chaz has been playing great basketball, and I don't know on a personal level, but they like I've seen them around, been in the locker room with them, and I think if Chaz Lanier comes out playing the way he plays, and Zakai Ziegler always leads the team like he usually does, and Igor doing the dirty work on the boards and pouring in a few buckets as well, and even Gainey putting in a couple buckets. If they all play together and play fast and play, by their defensive principles, like Coach Barnes, I know he'll definitely make
Yeah.
them play defense. I really do think they have a good opportunity to beat this Alabama team. When I took my official visit to Purdue, I actually watched Purdue beat Alabama at
Oh,
Purdue.
yeah.
So I've seen Mark Sears in action, and I think Nelson, right, the tall guy for
Yeah.
them, 6'10". They're definitely a beatable team, but they're still a really good team. And this win would be huge for Tennessee going into March for sure.
Yeah, and like I was saying, like Alabama is just so high paced, and Tennessee's kind of the complete opposite. Like I was saying earlier, and I'll talk more about later. Like it's two polar opposite of teams. Like Alabama's so high paced and high motored, and then Tennessee's not afraid to take it to 5 seconds left in the shot clock and wear you down. So you're a big guy. You can stretch the floor. You shoot the ball at with ease. Tremendous clip. How do you see yourself? If you end up at a team like Tennessee, how do you see yourself gelling with a team like that? As you were saying, very uh, defensive heavy.
I think my ability to, like you said, space the floor and shoot the ball. College basketball, they recruit people for, getting to the rim and freak athletes, and I consider myself an athlete. I can do all the cool dunks and stuff like that. But the shooting ability is definitely what separates me from the rest. Being at the taller frame and being able to space the floor, and then also take the smaller guards off the dribble and posting them up. I feel like I would gel well with Tennessee and finding the mismatches on the court like they usually try to do on offense every single time.
Especially with Zakai, it's so much pick and roll. Like they're waiting to find a mismatch. So yeah, you're exactly right. I could really see you gelling in Rick Barnes' system. But Uh, again, thank you for coming on the show, just giving us a small portion of your time. Again, Trey Thompson's one of my pretty good buddies. He lives far away, but he's a great dude. He's a great basketball player, but he's an even better teammate. So make sure you guys go show him some love. And Vol fans, make sure you let him know that you want him coming here because I know I do. I'd love to be able to just, when I'm in college next year, be able to go down there in a few years and just go watch him play. So, Trey, thank you for coming on here, man. It was a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Another big thank you to Trey Thompson. Like I said, the kid is an incredible basketball player. He's a top 100 recruit. I mean, he's being recruited or has been in contact with just about every school all over the country. He is a tremendous basketball player, but an even better person. A guy I consider one of my good friends. Like I said there on the interview, I used to play basketball, not with him, but in the same program as him, and we traveled all over the country together and became good friends through that. Back when I was a basketball player before everything got torn out of my ACL, and I was going to be done either way with this senior year, but who knows, we could still be alive and I would still be playing if I wasn't hurt, but that's besides the point. Again, a big thank you to him. Make sure you guys go check him out, check his On3 out. Would be a huge help. I think he could really fit into Tennessee's offense, and he reminds me a lot of Igor Milicic and can shoot it a lot better. I don't know if he's near as physical because the guy's 6 years younger than Igor Milicic, but a tremendous basketball player and, like I said, an even better person. But we listened to what Trey had to say, so now let's get right into what's at stake this weekend. It's a top 6 matchup, 5 versus 6, Bama being the 6. The Vols have really dominated this rivalry in the last few years. They've won 3 in a row. The Vols won last year 81-74, and Bama went to the Final Four last year. They're, like we said on the interview there, they're so high paced, they're high motor, they like to shoot it early in the shot clock, and they're going to kill you offensively. They're looking to score 100+ points a game. As we talked about on the last episode, I mean, they killed a top 25 team in Mississippi State, beat them 111-73, and they really just like to get out and go. Mark Sears runs that show, a quick, shifty point guard who can get to the hole, who can shoot it, a lefty, and he distributes really well. He had 21 points against Mississippi State, but he also tacked on 10 assists. So he's what makes them go. Last year when we played them, they had Mark Sears and Grant Nelson, who's leading their team this year. Mark Sears is averaging 19 points and 5 assists a game, and Grant Nelson is averaging 12 points and 8 rebounds a game. But last year, what what really helped us win the game was Grant Nelson was held to 3 points, and you may be thinking like, wow, that's a great defense by the Vols, but it wasn't even really that. Grant Nelson fouled out in like 16 minutes of play, so he was never really able to get into the flow of the game and get going because he was having to come on and off the court so much because he was in foul trouble. So he jumps at everything. If the Vols can, and Zakai does this, I mean, they've heard this before, but playing off of 2 feet is a term in basketball if you guys have not heard that. But playing off 2 feet is the best thing you can do in basketball. Get Grant Nelson up off of his feet and jump into him, try and bait him into a foul, and he's definitely their best big man. Now, Alabama's very, very deep. They have 6 guys who average north of 10 points a game. LeBaron Philon is a projected first-round pick, a top 20 guy, and he comes off the bench for them. And they've got Aiden Holloway, who also comes off the bench. Him and LeBaron kind of switch off, but the team is very deep. They're big. Mark Sears is small, but Jaron Stevenson is a big wing. Obviously, like we said, Grant Nelson is a good big man. Diabate is a big, long guy. That they have a lot of athletes to play defense. They just don't really prefer to. So it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, it's 2 polar opposite basketball teams. Alabama wants to get it out and go. And Tennessee, we know how Tennessee is. They don't mind to wear you down on the defensive end because if they can't hit, they don't want you to either. So I think it's a very good game. Obviously, I'm going to take the Vols to win, especially at home. Like I said, it's our biggest home game of the year, no doubt about it. I really do believe that if Chaz Lanier, kind of like Trey was saying, if Chaz Lanier can play his game, get out early, and see one go down, that can really change the outcome of this basketball game. If Chaz Lanier can get going early, it can be night and day for the Vols. Zakai Ziegler, he's been consistent this year, but he's been so good at home, especially as of late. Like, he has just shot it so much better at home versus on the road, and thankfully for us, we're at home this week, so it'll be interesting to see how he does against them. He led the way against them last year, having 18 points. Connect only had 13 last year, which that feels like that was the least he scored all year, but that's besides the point. Zakai played against them well last year. Mark Sears isn't an all-world defender per se, but it'll be interesting to see how we match up against them. As we know, Meshack is one heck of a defender, so if we put him on Sears or we let Zakai take Sears, because we know that both of those guys can guard like no other. But like I said, Jaron Stevenson is the 3 for them, and he's 6'10", so it'll be, like I said, interesting nonetheless. They've got guys like Chris Youngblood who come off the bench and shoot the ball very well, and he's a bigger guy. Aiden Holloway, like I said, the Auburn transfer, has been very good scoring the ball for them. He's second in scoring, and LeBaron Philon's a microwave. He is fast as lightning, but he gets out and goes. It'll be very interesting to see, just from an athlete standpoint, not even so much a basketball standpoint, how these athletes match up against each other. This Saturday at 4 o'clock on, I think it's ESPN, and because Dick Vitale's on the call. So for those of you wondering what channel it's on, I always talk about the channel and the time when I'm talking about the game. So it should be a great game. It's got a lot to do with March. If you win this game, I think regular season-wise, because, I mean, if Bama were to go on and win the SEC, or the SEC tournament, they'll definitely be a 1 seed. But regular season-wise, it definitely puts us in a good spot for a 1 seed, especially after Florida losing. Right now, Joe Lunardi has the 1 seeds as Auburn, Duke, Houston, and Alabama. So if we beat Alabama especially, it puts us in a great spot for a 1 seed after Florida just took that rough loss to Georgia. So it's got a lot of March implications. It's got a lot of SEC standings implications, especially after the Vols are coming off of 2 good SEC wins, especially one against A&M, who was at the time a top 7 team, top 8 team in the country. So it'll be interesting to see back-to-back top 10 games, SEC games for the Vols these last 2 weekends, and Rick Barnes knows what's at stake. Zakai Ziegler, we're experienced. Chaz Lanier is an experienced guy. Meshack, all the above. It's an experienced team. They know what's at stake, and they know the team that they're about to face. So we'll have to see. There's no doubt about it that Nate Oates is going to have the Crimson Tide ready to play. But I think that's going to all but wrap it up for this episode of From the Bench. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, like this video, and leave a comment of what your prediction is. I'm going to say my prediction. Let's see, we won last year 81-74. Alabama plays a lot like they did, high-paced, and ended up taking them to the Final Four last year. I'm going to go, this is ballpark, obviously, 84-81 Vols. Close one at home, but I think we pull it off late. I think Zakai Ziegler is going to make some good decisions down the stretch to help lead us to a win. So, like I said, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, like this video, leave a comment of what you think will happen this Saturday against the Crimson Tide. Tomorrow, I guess it is. And also, just to add, the baseball team has their first big test against Oklahoma State tonight. So, good luck to them, and it'll be interesting to see how they do against the Cowboys. So, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like I said. Thank you guys for watching, and go Vols.